This month, the Army revealed its new advertising campaign. It wants to encourage kids to join who may not even realise they have potential or qualities required. Negative stereotyping has led some young people to believe certain jobs are out of reach. The Army wants to show that although you may have been called lazy, weak or even soft, they'll see through that. Example 1.
Can't get him off that thing. Up all night he is.
Stamina. Don't underestimate it.
Dedication! Ready, let's go!
That's just what we need!
There, the kid gets told he's lazy because he plays on his console for 15 hours. The Army recognises that if a kid can concentrate for 15 hours, then he could probably keep motivated for long periods of time when staying switched on really matters. For instance, in an ambush. Example 2. The kid who can't keep from cracking the joke, even at the most inappropriate time, is the kid who will relieve the stress from some of the most challenging tasks. I think the TV and radio ads hit the nail right on the head, clearly illustrating the points I've made and more. However, the poster campaign needed explaining to me. I get it now, but if you have to explain an advert, it's not really doing its job. The Army is a fantastic career, and I want to see the youth of today aspiring to join.
You kind of just said it at the end of your intro there. If you have to explain an ad, it's never going to work. I think, you know, there was an ad that it promotes the emotional support given to troops. And I think that would totally fail to target the people that are most likely to join. And it's a campaign that will fail. And that's not me saying that. That's a guy called Colonel Richard Kemper. You probably know he was commander of the British forces in Afghanistan. And I think we're in danger here. I mean, I know recruitment is down in the Army. I know we have 77,000 troops when we should have 82,000. But I think it's crazy to try and scattergun and just have everybody, because not everyone is suitable. And you can't have an army go down the PC route that is inclusive and representative of society as a whole. You can't, because an army is not made up of quotas. You know, an army is made up of men who are prepared to fight and who are prepared to kill. And a lot of these ads are the emphasis on the emotional rather than the physical. And it has to be on the physical. I don't know why you're laughing, Afua, because to have a quota...
I can't believe what you're saying.
Why? To have a quota in an armed force. So you give a quota of so many gays, so many trans, so many minorities. That's not what an army is about.
There's no quotas. There's no quotas.
No, what the Army's trying to do,
what the Army's trying to do is cast its net.
Wow.
It's not trying to recruit me, and it will get a certain amount of blokes who want to join the Army anyway. There'll be so many lads out there that go, I'm joining the Army on leave school, you're not going to stop me, OK? But what it's trying to do is fill the commitment of the numbers it needs by casting its net wider
everywhere.
to people, no, not everywhere, but to a wider audience who might think to themselves, I wouldn't have what it takes to be in the Army. And the Army go, well, actually, you've got exactly what it takes. And I'll give you an example of one example I've got. You know, where I live in Hackney, there is loads and loads of youths there who don't even know anybody in the Army, don't even consider the Army. They've not been tapped into. And I'm sure if we tapped into them, a few of them would come and join.
I've said some tosh down the years and seen Afua laugh. I've never seen her laugh quite like this.
Oh, wow, she laughs at me all the time.
No,
So
I actually like to think I'm quite unshockable when it comes to you, Carol, but I am really quite shocked by what you've just said.
Why?
Just first of all, I wasn't sure what I thought about these ads, but listening to this, I now think I really like them. And I would say that you two, no offence at all, are not the target audience, right? So if you not understanding them doesn't necessarily mean they're not working, because the target audience are people that will understand that message. They might not like it, and the thing Dave said about it is that it's kind of stereotyping young people by suggesting they're all game addicts or
they're not
selfie addicts.
Those young people have already been stereotyped. So I was invited to Whitehall. I was invited to Whitehall where they presented it to me perfectly, and I understood. That was my only concern. But the good thing is they did invite a person like myself to Whitehall for an inside brief on what was going on. I'll tell you what I have done with this, right? Because I thought I'd put it in a format that you could understand, all right? I've made some posters myself. Afua's first. Afua, there you go. Private HIRSCH.
What did it say? What did it say?
Private HIRSCH.
And your humanitarianism.
Needs you and your humanitarianism.
Maybe I should rethink my career trajectory.
Let's bring that on. Corporal Malone. Corporal Malone.
Need you and your passion.
What's it? And your passion, yeah.
You and your passion.
Yeah, no.
Come on, let's bring in Sergeant.
Sergeant.
They're going to bury on
Who
it.
said that? Our sergeant's diplomatic.
We saved it.
I thought drill sergeants are the opposite.
Marshal Ferrari.
There we go. Absolutely.
Can I just...
I like that.
Can I finish my point?
Yeah,
I would like to finish my point. The reason that I was so shocked by what you were saying, Carol, is that I thought it was basically agreed that it is good for us to have an army that is broadly representative of the nation. I thought we had that argument. Why? What is bad about including?
Tell me why it needs to be represented.
I absolutely agree with you. It's horses for courses. Some people are designed for kicking indoors. Some people are designed for mending people and dishing out food. All right? That's the way the army works.
There are two reasons that I profoundly disagree with you, Carol. One is that it is simply not true that only people from one demographic make good soldiers.
Didn't say it was.
So the idea that trying to recruit broadly will somehow lower the quality of the army. I mean,
didn't say that.
I
said
offensive.
Not everyone is.
Secondly,
can I make my second?
You talked a lot. You talked a lot. My second point is that if you have an army that is defending the security interests of the country, it is obvious that it should be drawn from a wide cross-section of the population. Otherwise, there's no confidence in the army. And also, you're missing out on talent of the people in this country. Now, I think the problem with the army is that it's not attractive to a wide cross-section of people. If you wanted to join the army, you would be looking at the fact that people who have served in wars rely on charity.
Yes.
Charity if they're injured or need to be rehoused.
That's
that is what is putting people off. But the idea that we should not encourage people who are transgender, people from ethnic minorities, women.
These are aimed at every single young person in Britain, and not every single young person in Britain.
What you're saying is society labels some people as phone zombies.
So explain to me how phones. People would say it says phone zombies. We need your focus. A phone zombie could also be classed as someone who's an addictive person. How is that going to be useful?
Great. He could be addicted to doing his job properly.
Why is that useful?
Can I just bring in the head of Army recruitment, Major General Paul Nansen, and see what he has to say? So the Army sees people differently, and we're proud to look beyond the stereotypes and spot the potential in young people, from compassion to self-belief. We understand the drive they have to succeed and recognise the need for a bigger sense of purpose in a job where they can do something meaningful. I love this ad campaign. One of the reasons I love it is because it's turning, as you've said correctly, I believe, Phil, which, great, they had to brief you on it, and maybe that is an issue, but you said correctly that it turns negative stereotypes into positives, and all these young kids have been hearing that it's wrong to be on your phone, it's wrong to play games, it's wrong to be emotionally sensitive, right?
Kind of is.
And actually, sorry?
It kind of is. For a kid to be on a game for 15 hours a day, you've got to say
whether they should be on for 15 hours is a separate conversation to saying if you have done that in the past, that focus could be used instead in the army driving a tank for 15 hours, where you're also dodging obstacles.
And by the
way, I think they're turning, that helps with self-esteem for young kids to know that the skill they have can be an incredibly positive thing, right?
The criticism
used in the correct.
been...
Hold on, Carol. Let me finish my point. So that's how I think the ad campaign is great. On the representation point, and the armed forces know this, you'll know this, Phil, we do need more Muslims, for example, in the armed forces, right? So I was incredibly depressed when at ISIS, when they were at their peak, there was this horrible stat going around, which is true, that proportionately more British Muslims went to fight for ISIS than they did join the British Armed Forces. And it's depressing to hear that. We do need more representation.
What's stopping them?
Well, that's another conversation entirely. But we do need more. We need a more representative armed forces. And any ad that is encouraging young British Muslims to join our armed forces instead of going wayward in wrong directions, I think should be encouraged.
Lots of the top brass are saying that these ads completely miss the core pool.
Those people would be recruiting.
Because the core pool of the people you're on about, the people that want to join up the boot doors down and all that sort of stuff, take names and flat pack people, they're going to be there anyway. They're going to join. They're going to sign a dotted line the minute they get out of school. Well, I'm going. So you don't need to recruit them because they're in. All right? It's the people that we can't get to that we need to get to.
Tell me when you joined up, why
He's been truly sold on them.
Why did you join up?
I joined up because I wanted to be a soldier.
Yeah. And what did that mean to you?
What did it mean? It meant everything to me. I wanted to be a soldier. I wanted to play for England, actually.
That's how we ended up.
Hasn't it come in yet?
I wanted to be a ballet dancer, but it just
what do you think?
It never happened.
What did you think a soldier's job would be? What was it to you?
All I knew about the army when I joined up at the time was I'd been in the CCF for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I looked at the army as a positive thing that I could do to do good for my country. I've been told it was a good thing to do. We were in North, yeah, absolutely. We were in Northern Ireland at the time. In fact, a mate of mine's brother had come back from Northern. He was in a parachute regiment, okay, and he'd been killed over there. And I thought, right, I want to go over there and I want to sort some of this stuff out myself. Okay, so that was. And if you look after the recent wars that we've had, a lot of young lads will have said, I want to join the army. I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay, but what we're saying is it's slowed down at the moment. So what they're trying to do is reach out into other pools.
I am the Field Marshal here. I'm calling an end to this debate. Afua.
Now, there's been no shortage of passionate speeches around this table, actually, but also in the House of Commons recently. But it would be hard to find someone more passionate than Labour MP Jess Phillips, who did not hold back while speaking about plans to allow MPs on parental leave to nominate another MP to vote on their behalf, instead of having to come to Westminster with their newborn baby. It's safe to say her opponents have been put on notice.
I personally will make a misery of the lives of anyone who comes in here and objects based on their patriarchal, paternalistic, draconian, old-fashioned sensibilities. Also, I would like to say that it won't just be me making their lives a misery, it will be me and my feminist army.
For that inspired performance, Jess Phillips, you are our straight talker of the week.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I love Jess Phillips. I mean, she's probably, yes. She's Labour member MP that I completely and utterly support in most things. I think she's an amazing woman.
You see, leavers have tolerance. This is what we were trying to... She's also high on cannabis, by the way. She's done the whole show, this one. She's completely off.
I could see that when she was driving.
That's all we've got time for this week. But you can join in the debate by searching for The Pledge on Facebook or Twitter. Thanks for watching.